contactors, which is our 8 or 16 GPM unit.
Okay.
You know, that's 3,500 to 5,000 gallons of oil probably. A typical turbine.
Ours is about 8 to 10,000 gallons reservoir.
So if the ingression's high, we definitely would be in that larger unit. It could be that volume of oil, but if ingression's moderate, you know, we can see it less frequently.
Okay. We looked into, we've had some proposals out there for the electrostatic precipitators to get rid of the submicron particles. Is that, and there's been concern about that on stripping out the additives out of the oil.
Very much so.
So, does anything you're proposing here strip out the additives, because that's what poo-pooed that system is. We talked about there's different vendors out there that proposing electrostatic precipitators to get rid of to get rid of the very fine particles.
Right, and that's, yeah, we're seeing, and we're certainly familiar with a lot of people using it, and mixed results definitely at best. Yeah, we don't touch the additives because we're not doing any sort of real barrier filtration. The oil comes in one end of that polyfiber membrane, it actually goes out the other. So whatever we don't pull through, such as water, just stays in the fluid and keeps going. So you don't really see them being stripped. Additives in most of these oils should be dissolved. So unless you're doing something in electrostatics may change that, but the additives should stay dissolved within the oil and shouldn't come out. And they don't come out with the airstream either.
Okay.
But there are upstream genesis there of it, bypass, the bypass and all that in, or is it usually just, because you said that's only 16 or 18 GPM, you got to get through that first, and that's a...
we've got plenty of capacity. We could handle a couple hundred gallons.
Well, I mean, you just kind of make your schedule whatever the application is, I imagine.
Yeah, if need be. If we were looking, as Beth said, we did a study with her group actually that was doing a fluid that was hugely loaded with solids. And in that case, we actually put 2 more big filters in front of it to unload it. But in the case of power gen, the oils generally are pretty light, so there's no need for maybe not.
Major reconnaissance mission is unnecessary.
So major high capacity. So the high capacity hasn't been an issue. And the only other reason we would normally put in a redundancy there would be if you wanted to change on the fly.
Well, yeah, you want to.
But the reality is you can shut this down. It's a kidney loop skid, so you can shut it down, change your filter, and put it back on in a couple minutes.
Okay.
Now with the submicron, what size are you looking at to remove?
We're not quite sure. We just know that on the hydrogen seals, and we see it inside the bearings, we're getting a buildup, and it eats up the clearance until you're forced to. You keep on getting higher and higher temperatures until you're forced to shut down.
Is that more of a varnish?
Yes.
Okay.
It shows
It's a
up.
different beast.
Yeah,
It's really small stuff.
That's why
It's a different
we're
beast.
familiar with the guys doing electrostatics and varnish, and we're actually upgraded a few.
I guess maybe he asked it. I'll ask it again. I guess what I'm thinking is, could any of the additives go the same way that the water does? The filter you got, will it pass some of the additives out? Could you be extracting additives through that same filter medium that you're using there?
No, the particle filter obviously can't. As far as the membrane goes,
Yeah, membrane.
no. Those additives are dissolved in the fluid, and
Which water is too?
true story. Additives are going to be much
True
longer.
story. That's a fact.
Additives are going to be much longer molecule. They're not
That's
going
my
to be
question. That's my
simple
question.
molecules.
It's the molecule size.
But yeah, we've looked at that in numerous oils. A lot of the oils you guys deal with for the most part aren't highly additized. The paper machines have a ton of additives, and yeah, so we did studies early on, make sure that the additive concentrations are the same before and after we got involved.
Some of the changes in oil, like you say, have hurt coalescing filters. Is there anything that's going on in the oils? Is there anything that you can put in the oils to make this not work? Like,
Can we turn this up?
Can you tear it out?
I have a feeling if you
Depends on
applied
the
yourself,
tools.
yeah.
we're good at it.
Chainsaws are not recommended.
I mean, like soaps and
Soaps will,
Sauce
things like that,
ester.
some of those that you don't want in there. What may happen if you start coating out the surface, the membrane itself, instead of right now, you're essentially dissolving water from the oil into the surface of the membrane, and then out of the surface of the membrane into the air. The worst thing people can do to it is actually on the compressed air side, and throw compressor oil on the outside of the membrane. Now you just slow it down. You can clean that up to a degree. But yeah, normal soaps and things like that shouldn't impact it. They might slow it down a little bit if they really film out. The one to watch out for would be varnish dissolvers.
We've done a lot of work in your instrument air systems at a lot of your plants, and we would highly recommend you put instrument air into that unit. Especially where you're using your flooded screw compressors, that stuff is brutal.
Definitely.
That's as big a risk as anything on it. But if you use instrument air, it would be okay.
Yeah, and if we're dealing with normal levels of water and oil in the air, we take care of it. If we're in a bad location or if instrument air is available, I go for it.
How much air is required?
Depends how much drying we're trying to do.
Yeah.
I mean, systems that are getting clean and are fairly small circulation rates will go under a CFL. When these things, if they're slugged, you might be at 20 CFL. Yeah. But that might only be for a day.
You can tighten 2 fittings and you've got.
You got extra.
Yeah, you could, right? And everyone wants to charge us for air, but it's like, well, I walk down, I can hear it pissing out all over the place. So.
No, that's not air, that's steam.
Well, steam's free though.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of quick summary on this, and then Beth's going to go on to the some of the case studies. And I think we are going to, you got a slide on varnish, right? So we'll come back to that.
I do.
Okay. So with the Ulti-Dry, or the Driflex technology, I mean, we're looking at getting down that 25 to 50 BPM level. That's where we really think people can get the most bang for their buck. It's getting the oil extremely dry, ensure that when these plants cool down again, if they are cyclically used, that they're not getting anywhere near the saturation level, that they might have free water up here. Moisture or ISO qualities, we see 1310 is easily doable, 1411. You know, that might be 1 or 2 ISO codes better than your standard, I think you said. And that's
1613, yeah.
yeah. So if something like this can help you get way below your standard, then your full flow filters, they're unloaded, they're there just in case the pump's having an issue or something else, and nothing's ever going to get at risk. But you're just kind of unloading, trying to let something else do the heavy lifting. And it's really set up that it could work in virtually any type of oil. We're doing anything from 32 or 46 turbine oils to you had cutting fluids that were 20 weight viscosities. Wind turbines are 320. I mean, there's a huge variety of fluids out there, and the same technology works all the way across.
I saw you had a heat exchanger that was optional at the beginning of it. Is there a temperature range that this thing works better at as far as oil temperature, or is worse at, or anything like that?
The warmer,
Viscosity.
yeah, the warmer the oil, the more performance you'll get.
Right.
We put optional on that because we really want to draw attention. It doesn't matter. If we know that the oil is going to be at a certain temperature, again, back to your case study, that's room temperature oil because they pull it out of the machine and it sits in the tow. So if the steam turbine's running or turbine's running, it's 140 degree oil, we're really in our sweet spot. The biggest reason for that heater being optional is we had a couple of customers early on ask for it, and that was actually so when they wanted to bring a plant up after a turnaround, they had a lot of heat capacity to get the oil up to temperature so they could get the plant up. So we put heat exchangers in the first ones to save them like 12 hours on a turnaround. Time is money and power. So.
That's something maybe look interesting too. Pre-warming oil. Because I mean,
Right.
coming back from just that start back up, or we got a lot of units right now that we're looking at putting in. Imagine that in power industry, NID status, not in demand, and being able to clean the oil up when the unit is off, and it's 40, 50, 60 degree oil, more or less pumping molasses.
Yeah,
Right.
we've got customers doing just that with these. That part of the idea of the technology is, if you think back to the first picture, there's nothing there to adjust. It's simple, and the whole thought is it's going to work its best at 140 degrees. But if you bring the plant down and it stops to 80 degrees, is this backwards? Sort of.
Or maybe use the.
The one thing we did for that regard is we put a bypass in that. Next to the bypass bypass loop.